This live session is really based on a blog I wrote about how to get an A star at A level, and I'll go through the key points of that blog. You can find that blog if you want to read it, and I do recommend you read it, on www.boostrevision.com. We have got some courses as well on the Boost Revision website, so do check these out, especially if you're new to A-level chemistry. We've got the Head Start for A-level course, which I believe will set you off on your way and would give you a very positive introduction to A-level chemistry, so do check that out as well. Okay, so onto the blog and some of the key points I have made in that blog, and I'll take these in turn. How do you go about getting an A star at A-level chemistry? A lot of people say it's one of the most difficult subjects to get an A star in, and that may be true, that may not be, depending on how you interpret the numbers, but it is very much possible, and there are a number of things that you need to do in order to get that A star at A level, and there are some things that people who go on to get an A star at A level have in common, so I will go through these with you. One of the most important things, and this might sound really obvious, but the number of students I speak to who aren't as clued up on this fact is often quite astonishing, and it is about knowing where the bar is set. So depending on which board you're doing, it might be that you need 80% of the total marks. It could be as high as 87%. You need to know that. You need to look at where the grade boundaries are. So for instance, if you're doing A-level AQA chemistry, you need to know that you at the very minimum you need about 240 marks out of 300, so around about the 80% mark. And once you're armed with that fact, you can begin to strategize, and it is very important to plan your way towards the A-level A star that you're after. So we'll come to look at some of the tips that you can put into practice to get that A star. So know where the bar is with your exam board. The other thing to do once you know what the target score you want is, let's say you've decided I want to work towards a minimum of 245 marks out of 300, you then need to take a very reflective look at your strengths and your weaknesses in A-level chemistry. Now, how do you go about working out your strengths and weaknesses? Well, any good sort of A-level teacher will be setting you tests at the end of every topic, and you need to be obviously preparing for these tests and doing your sort of level best to do well in them. But some topics are harder than others, and you might find that you enjoy some topics a lot more than others, and it's down to you to make a note of which topics you really enjoy, which topics you're doing really well on, and also which ones you're not doing so well on and why you aren't doing so well on these. And that's where your teacher comes in. So you really do need to get in touch with your teacher after every topic test and say, I got this wrong, I'm not quite sure why or what I need to do to get this particular type of question right the next time. And that way you're identifying your areas of weakness and working towards fixing them, because ultimately in your exam you're going to need to sort of make sure that your weak areas, and everyone, no matter how good they are at chemistry, will have an area where they're not as strong, and they will need to make sure that that side of the course isn't going to let them down. So identifying that area of weakness and working hard on that so that it doesn't cost you so much. And then, of course, maximizing your your areas of strength, the bits of chemistry that you like a lot, making sure that you're hoovering up all the marks, so putting in enough revision on your areas of strength as well, so that you're hoovering up those marks. The other point I make in the blog is about sort of working hard, work ethic and organization. So there are two parts to it: planning ahead, being organized, knowing what is going to be examined in each paper, and making sure that in your planner, in your forward planning, in your revision timetable, you are allocating adequate time to each of those areas is incredibly important. And that in itself is hard work, and not many students do that or leave it till too late for it to be effective. So you really want to be doing that right from the start. So thinking ahead to maybe your AS exams, or maybe your end of year exams, or maybe a mock exam coming up. Have a medium to long term plan of what you're going to be doing and where you're going to be doing that. And I think that is very important. So that work ethic and being organised should prove incredibly useful if you want to get that A star. I think the other key point that I make in the blog is that you need to ask for help when you need it. You can't leave it till sort of the last couple of weeks before your exam to ask for help, because if at that point you've understood it, you're just not left with enough time to practice on your own to build that confidence. So it is very important that you ask for help when you need it. Now, that's not to say that as soon as you see a question you can't do, you sort of jump up straight away and sort of run off to see your teacher or whoever's helping you to do it for you. You want to spend quite a bit of time trying to do it independently as well. And then when you're really stuck with nowhere to go, at that point, do ask for help. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into what is in the blog, and I hope you'll all go off and read the blog.